The classic Omnitrix is a especially unique watch in the Ben 10 Omniverse, and it all starts with the history of the watch, and we're talking about before Azimuth himself even touched it. The original concepts of the Omnitrix were designed by Stephen E. Gordon. The watch resembled more of an analog Earth watch with a yellow interior and a single red clock hand, which I would assume would be there in order for them to select the aliens. And this was from when the watch was called the Megadeoxyribonucleic Transdimensional Transforminal Numerator, or the Megawatt for short. This concept watch wouldn't turn him into aliens though, but it would switch him into different versions of himself across the multiverse, sort of like D4C from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. This design was later changed by Dave Johnson, the new art director for the show's first 2 seasons. He helped us get the classic alien designs along with the Omnitrix design that we all know and love. In series, however, the watch was designed by the Galvin Einstein Azimuth. He created it as his second masterpiece as a means of repenting for the destructive past of his first creation. The Omnitrix was built to promote peace and to also be a way of experiencing different walks of life of the different species of the universe, and for Azimuth to win back his baddie Zenith. The way the watch works once it's latched on to the user is pretty simple, but I'll let Ben explain that part.
All you do is press this button. Then when the ring pops up, just twist it until you see the guy you want to be. Slam it down and bammo! You're one of 10 super cool alien dudes!
And of course, it has a very unique interface that uses icons of the aliens instead of the holographic feature that we get later on in the show. The way the classic watch collects newer DNA samples is a lot different than its future iterations. However, this version of the Omnitrix needs a physical touch to scan DNA, as we can see with the Nerd Trio. However, like the rest of the Omnitrixes, it stops functioning once something new is nearby. This version of the scan function that the classic watch has seems to be a very dangerous function for the user though. Let's say that Ben takes on the Andromeda 5 with the classic watch, and he is forced to scan Pandor. The cells in his body would pretty much be utterly wrecked, as he would have to get close to living radiation in order to scan it. No, thank you. The watch does make up for this weird scan feature with destructive power though. The self-destruct mode that we get to see Ben unlock in the movie Ben 10 Secret of the Omnitrix really gets to demonstrate the objective power of the watch itself. Now, the power source of the Omnitrix is a self-renewable power source that is even stronger than Earth's sun. And when in self-destruct mode, if allowed to build up, the Omnitrix is fully capable of destroying the entire universe. And the charge only builds the more the watch is used. We get to see some pretty crazy nuclear moments in the show, where Ben is blasting away entire squadrons with the energy that radiates from the watch. And I mean, power that scales universally is not a small feat. The strength of the playlist is also something that makes the Omnitrix very special. And instead of going through every single alien in the watch, we can break them up into archetypes. These are the Strength archetype, Specialty archetype, and Versatility archetype. So, the Strength category are the aliens I would deem as the ones with the most brute force and power in combat. These are the most powerful aliens in the classic Omnitrix, and to be very honest, they pack a wallop. Each of them are not just able to take on any member of Ben's gallery of villains, but they are capable of soloing them, and to solo them with ease as well. And I mean, the casual fact that 10-year-old Ben has access to way big will never cease to be insane for me. These aliens seem to be stable go-tos for Ben, and they're ones that feel like an instant win once Ben has transformed, if you ask me. And if we talk about these two from the Nerd system as well, they might be the weakest of the bunch, but their power is still life-threatening. The Specialty category are aliens that are especially good at one specific thing, whether it's accelerate speed or gray matter's genius and small size. Uniqueness of each ability pretty much covers every single situation that you can think of. Need to be somewhere quickly? You have accelerate. Need to fight robots underwater? You have Ripjaws. Need to have a seismic sense and Byakugan type awareness? You have Wildmud. The entire list of these aliens are perfectly suited for niche situations. Along with that, they are also very good at taking on big matchups as well, on varying scales of course. The Versatility category though is full of aliens that are suitable for almost every single situation, and they're more than likely helpful no matter what happens. A big criteria for this section for me is the overall utility of the aliens. The peak of this category is Ghost Freak, and his ability to do nearly anything. Incredible combat skill, he's invisible, intangible, and all sorts of other stuff. These aliens are normally good in a pinch, and they excel in taking on a creative approach to their situations as well. And to be honest, they make for entertaining episodes. The playlist itself is as well-rounded as it gets, and to be honest, if Ben kept this playlist for the rest of the show, he would still be able to take on threats he encounters nonetheless. The augments of the Omnitrix are also an interesting and underrated point of view as well. Those who don't know, an augment is defined as to make something greater by adding to it or increasing it. As we have seen, the classic Omnitrix go through some slight changes that have made the known inner workings become something that is completely different. Take for example the time Ben removed the faceplate from the watch and created a version that I would like to call Fusionitrix. This enabled Ben to access alien fusions, however with a randomizer function attached to it. I personally believe that has endless possibilities, but it was very short-lived. Along with that, we see the Sumotrix, which is when Ben went into the Sumo Slammers video game and the Omnitrix became a sort of video gamified version of itself, with aliens spread out all over the video game world and having to be collected to be accessed. A last thing that was very interesting about the watch is the malware overload function. This was when Ben accessed a very interesting and strange setting that made the watch start to discharge omni energy, which he used to overload malware the time he destroyed feedback. That mode seems more like a kill mode that Ben can access at potentially any moment that could theoretically vaporize most enemies without even transforming. The recalibrations of the watch, however, are some things that stand out to me. The Alien Force recalibration and the Ben 10K recalibrations. The Alien Force recalibration came with a newer playlist and user interface, and the Ben 10,000 recalibration came with a vaster playlist and of course the unlocking of master control with mental alien switching and no timeouts. Those two shifts in the watch were very unique, and especially in comparison to the reboots version of the classic watch. The final factor for me that really sells this watch is the nostalgia factor that comes with the classic Omnitrix. Most of us grew up with this watch. We watched a 10-year-old struggle and win with it. I can remember some of the very first episodes where I ever watched Ben 10, and where I got my first experiences viewing the watch that we know as the Omnitrix. Episodes like Game Over and that Christmas episode as well, and some of the TV ads that used to run before them on old Cartoon Network. Let me hit you with a nostalgia blast.
Let's do this!
I am not tumbleweed!
Oh man, I'm never gonna get this thing to work.
And for this Omnitrix, we wanted ones of our own, and we never stopped loving the classic because it's where it all started. And if you want to learn even more about the classic Omnitrix, click this video here.